What is up, guitar playing people, or maybe today more specifically, blues guitar playing people or people interested in blues guitar? We are going to be breaking down Stevie Ray Vaughan's signature lick, and not just how to learn it, not just how to play it, but really how to nail it down so you can inject it into your playing in a more meaningful way, and it's not so sloppy. It becomes, really more automatic and fluid, all right? And you can kind of bring it into your guitar vocabulary. So for those of you who are familiar with Stevie Ray Vaughan's playing, you're probably familiar with this lick. And sometimes it's used as a passing phrase to take you from piece to piece or, part to part inside of a guitar solo or lead line. And sometimes it is the primary focus or kind of the root or anchor inside of guitar solo that he comes back to throughout. Excuse the guitar faces, but that should sound familiar to you. Of course, from song to song, there are different variations. So that's up to you to listen to some of those nuances from song to song. But we're going to use this, specific lick as our way of getting it under our fingers. And then once you have it there, creating some variation is actually pretty easy. All right, so that's what we're going to be using and going over. And again, it's really how to dial it in and nail it down so that it becomes part of your vocabulary. So if you do find this helpful, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you appreciate this approach, and make sure you watch through so you can get all of the little nuggets. Let's try to get this done efficiently, quickly, and going through this on your own should only take, let's say 3 to 5 minutes. All right, so a few more times on the lick itself. Let's just make sure we hear that out and can understand it. Let's make sure we don't hit any of those, notes we don't want to hit. Make it a little more clean. And just right there, that's basically how I want you to approach it, is make it repetitive. So repetition is not only a great way to get immediate feedback, right? So when you do hit that note, oh, that sounded a little funky. I shouldn't have hit that. I should have played this a little more clean. Not only do you get that immediate feedback, you're also getting some great muscle memory, which is a part of making something automatic, right? Making a skill automatic. And of course, you're strengthening your hands and that, mind-muscle connection. All right, so that's a big part of repetition. So basically, that's the starting point, is getting it under your fingers. Maybe just, again, like I said, setting a timer for 3 to 5 minutes. Hearing it out, asking yourself, how did that sound? Is there something I could have done differently? Really making sure you've got an eye on your picking hand, your fretting hand to start. Does that little, pull off and then quick hammer pull, sound good to you? And then from there, I would start playing it with a metronome, right? Just to stay in rhythm. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. And actually have a metronome on. I'm using, my phone to film. I've got, my amp, mic'd up so that it can be heard clearly. So all of my, metronome devices, that's running through my computer are being used right now. But make sure you have a metronome on to really, make sure you're in a good rhythm. Okay. And then from there, I would put on a backing track. So right now, we're in the key, this is basically an A minor pentatonic. So you can use like a dominant blues, an A dominant blues to play this over. And you'll recognize when you have a backing track on, you have to take certain beats to make it sound smooth. And you can play around with breaking it up, so to speak. Right, taking a moment in between the lick itself, depending on, how you're playing, what sounds good to you, of course. And so you'll have to basically adjust your playing based on where you're at in the progression. So, when you're on the first bar, you'll play it differently than when you're on the second bar and the third bar and the fourth bar and all that stuff. All right, the turnaround is going to be different than the intro, right? Little subtle differences to really nail it down on top of something. You can also use it on top of a C major progression. Now that little hammer pull, right, where you've got 5, 6, and 7, that might not sound perfect, but again, you can take pieces out once you have it under your fingers. And maybe you take out that hammer pull, that quick hammer or pull and then hammer pull. Maybe you take that out and you just go, because that can still sound really good over a major progression. And the correlating, key would be C major or A minor, relative major minor scales. All right, but that's pretty much it. Go through it slowly. Get that under your fingers and then play it with the metronome. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Right? And then put it on top of a blues, backing track. I added a little bend in there, but that would be the next step, right? Adding a little bit of variety or taking beats when you need to. So the song, May I Have a Talk With You, has that little, that lingering on the B and high E. That's just kind of a brief example. You can go into the song and listen for the true variety with regard to the primary lick, but creating some variation for yourself. And then from there, letting it lead you into other parts, right? And playing around with using it as an anchor or a passing phrase. And that's really the deal. Make sure, final thing, don't tighten up. Oftentimes when we're trying to play something fast or mimic somebody we know, there can be this like contraction. This is just from, teaching and watching others learn. There can be this tension to it. Be loose. Don't overpick. Don't over squeeze on your fretting hand. Obviously, I talk about this a lot. So if you do, follow along with all my other stuff, you'll know that that's a big thing. Be loose, be easy. But that's really it. Take those steps and set a timer each day. Sprinkle this into your playing sessions. I think every day for a few weeks would be awesome and would really get it there efficiently. But sprinkle it in based on how you're feeling, what you want to play. If you're going to play some Stevie Ray Vaughan stuff, put this on the front end. 3 to 5 minutes, maybe you're just getting the lick down. 3 to 5 minutes, with the metronome. 3 to 5 minutes with the a backing track, depending on where you're at with the lick. And you should be in a great place. Your hands will get strong, the lick will get strong, and you'll be feeling good about throwing in a little Stevie Ray Vaughan flavor into your playing. So again, if you liked it, like the video, subscribe to the channel because I'll have a bunch of other stuff like this coming out very soon. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace.